Once men learn this truth, their inner world reorganizes before the outer world ever reacts. Because power has never lived in outcomes, it has always lived in self-command. Most men are raised to believe their value is negotiated through acceptance, attention, approval, affection, and when those things fluctuate, they feel unstable without understanding why. The Stoics saw this clearly. They warned that the man who ties his peace to anything external has already surrendered his sovereignty. Modern men wake up checking reactions, measuring tone, interpreting silence, scanning for emotional weather, living in constant anticipation. This anticipation is the root of weakness, because it teaches the nervous system to wait instead of act, to hope instead of decide. A man who waits for emotional permission slowly abandons his authority. He starts shaping himself to be palatable, agreeable, safe, and this is where attraction quietly dies, not through cruelty, not through rejection, but through the slow erosion of polarity. The Stoics never taught domination. They taught independence, independence from praise, independence from blame, independence from the need to be chosen. When a man no longer requires validation, he stops broadcasting insecurity. His movements slow, his speech becomes deliberate, his presence steadies, and people feel this before they understand it. This is why the truth feels dangerous, because it does not require effort, it requires subtraction. Removing the habit of chasing. Reassurance, removing the reflex to explain, removing the fear of silence. Once this habit dies, the man no longer leaks emotional energy. He becomes internally sealed, not closed, but complete. This is where confusion ends, because confusion is born from dependence. When you depend, you calculate. When you calculate, you hesitate. When you hesitate, you lose respect for yourself. The Stoic path cuts through this cycle brutally. It teaches that your worth is not proven through reaction. It is assumed through conduct, and once this assumption is internalized, the external world begins adjusting without discussion. This is the first fracture in the illusion. Not women changing, not dynamics shifting, but the man finally standing on internal ground instead of emotional quicksand. The second truth deepens the fracture. Emotional discipline is not emotional suppression. It is emotional authority. Most men confuse intensity with strength. They believe reacting quickly proves care, that explaining proves maturity, that emotional display proves authenticity. The Stoics rejected this completely. They understood that the man who reacts first is the man who lost control of the exchange. Every emotional reaction is a confession of leverage handed over. Anger reveals vulnerability, jealousy reveals fear, over-explanation reveals self-doubt. Yet men perform these behaviors daily, believing they are defending themselves. Epictetus warned that no one can enslave a man who governs his responses, and this governance begins internally. The Stoic man feels emotion fully but does not obey it blindly. He observes the surge without acting on impulse. He pauses where others rush. He allows discomfort to exist without scrambling to eliminate it. This pause creates space, and space creates power, because the one who controls tempo controls outcome. Emotional discipline disrupts manipulation because manipulation feeds on predictability. When reactions disappear, games starve, tests collapse, pressure loses its edge. The calm man becomes unreadable, and unreadable men cannot be steered. They cannot be rushed into explanations. They cannot be cornered into emotional labor. Their silence is not avoidance, it is containment. People sense this containment instinctively, because calm exposes instability. When one person remains cantered, the other must either rise to that level or reveal imbalance. This is why emotional discipline feels intimidating, not because it is aggressive, but because it removes chaos as a tool. The Stoics did not argue to win. They embodied steadiness until arguments became unnecessary. And once a man adopts this discipline, his presence changes. He no longer negotiates respect. He signals it through composure. This is where power becomes visible, not loud, not dramatic, but undeniable. The third truth completes the collapse of illusion. Purpose is the anchor that prevents emotional drift. Without purpose, a man seeks meaning through people. He turns relationships into identity, affection into fuel, approval into direction. And when that supply wavers, his internal structure shakes. The Stoics believed duty preceded desire, that a man's obligation was to his character before his comfort. Purpose does not mean ambition alone. It means alignment, waking each day with direction that is not dependent on another person's mood. When a man builds his body, his craft, his discipline, his mind, he becomes internally occupied, not distracted, but anchored. This anchor changes relationship dynamics instantly, because need evaporates. He no longer clings, no longer overinvests, no longer fears loss. Companionship becomes a choice rather than a requirement, and choice carries authority. The Stoic man does not threaten to leave. He is simply always capable of walking away. And this capability is felt, not stated. Manipulation requires fear to function, fear of abandonment, fear of conflict, fear of solitude. When a man makes peace with being alone, manipulation loses oxygen. This is why the title feels provocative, not because women are defeated, but because the fantasy collapses, the fantasy that effort creates desire, that sacrifice earns respect, that fear strengthens bonds. Once men learn this truth, emotional games stop working because games require reaction, and reaction is no longer available. What remains is clarity, calm, and internal authority. This is the Stoic victory, not over others, but over illusion, and once illusion dies, power returns permanently. The fourth truth is where most men misunderstand Stoicism completely. Detachment is not coldness. It is sovereignty. Men are taught that to care deeply they must cling, pursue, reassure, and constantly prove emotional availability. But the Stoics saw attachment as the root of suffering because attachment transfers control outward. The attached man fears outcomes, fears silence, fears withdrawal, and fear shapes behavior long before words appear. Detachment reverses this entirely. The Stoic man can feel deeply without dissolving himself into the feeling. He can love without losing posture, commit without surrendering identity, and stay without shrinking his boundaries. Detachment does not mean indifference, it means freedom from compulsion. When a man is detached, he does not monitor reactions obsessively. He does not seek reassurance to calm his nervous system. He does not escalate emotional intensity to secure closeness. He allows space naturally, and space restores polarity. People sense when someone is not clinging to them for emotional survival, and this creates safety rather than pressure. The Stoics believed the highest form of control was control over desire, not its elimination but its mastery. A man who can want without needing is unshakable, because his internal balance does not collapse when circumstances change. This balance creates an invisible authority, not dominance but presence. Others feel it as steadiness, as calm confidence, as something solid. And this solidity makes emotional manipulation impossible. Because manipulation depends on urgency and fear, detachment removes both, leaving clarity in their place. The fifth truth sharpens this authority further. Silence is stronger than explanation. Modern men are conditioned to over-explain themselves, to defend their intentions, justify their boundaries, and prove their innocence emotionally. But the Stoics warned that excessive explanation is a form of self-betrayal, because it signals doubt in one's own position. When a man rushes to explain, he reveals insecurity, not honesty. The Stoic man speaks deliberately, not to persuade emotions but to state truth. He does not argue to be understood, because his self-understanding is already complete. When challenged, he pauses. When misunderstood, he does not panic. When accused, he does not scramble. This silence is not passive, it is anchored, and anchored silence forces reflection. Noise invites resistance, arguments create opposition, but silence creates space for others to confront their own assumptions. This is why silence feels heavy, because it removes distraction. The Stoics practiced restraint in speech as a form of power, knowing that words once released cannot be recalled. A man who controls his speech controls escalation. When he refuses to over-explain, he preserves dignity, and dignity commands respect without negotiation. People either rise to that standard or fall away, and both outcomes serve the Stoic equally, because his peace is not dependent on approval. The final truth is where everything integrates. Once men learn this truth, women are not finished, illusions are finished. The illusion that attraction is earned through effort, the illusion that self-sacrifice creates desire, the illusion that fear strengthens bonds. These beliefs collapse under Stoic clarity. What replaces them is internal authority, calm presence, emotional self-command, and unshakable identity. The Stoic man no longer reacts to emotional tests because he no longer needs to prove himself. He no longer fears loss because his life is already full. He no longer seeks control because he governs himself. This does not repel connection, it filters it. Only those who respect strength remain, and respect is the foundation of any lasting bond. The Stoics never taught hatred or withdrawal from humanity. They taught mastery, mastery of impulse, mastery of fear, mastery of desire. When a man achieves this mastery, he becomes free, and freedom is the most attractive state a man can inhabit because it cannot be taken away. This is the real ending, not domination over others, but command over self. And once a man reaches this point, nothing external can rule him again.